Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Hall. I hope good things are happening to you today. Let's get right into this. We're going to talk about this man. Oh, this man? Do we have to talk about him? I think we do. Oh, wow. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. What kind of deviltry has he been up to? Ridiculous. Rand Paul's comments on Russia invasion of Ukraine blasted as echoing Putin's propaganda. Do we have the video? We do have the video. Am I going to share the video? Yes, I am. Let's take a look right now.
That Russia has attacked over the last years. Georgia, leaving forces in Transnistria and Moldova, and then repeatedly Ukraine. These were countries that were not part of NATO. It has not attacked NATO countries for probably a very good reason.
You could also argue the countries they've attacked were part of Russia.
Well,
we're part of the Soviet Union.
Yes, and I firmly disagree with that proposition. It is the fundamental right of these countries to decide their own future.
Okay, I think we should just go over some basic Russian Revolution history. Right after the Russian Revolution, there was the Russian Civil War between 1917. I believe it officially ended in 1921. The reason why the Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union is because the Red Army invaded it, I think, 3 times. The Russian had to invade Ukraine 3 times to bring it into the fold. The only reason why Georgia, the country of Georgia, was part of the Soviet Union is because of the Red Army invading the Caucasus. I'm sorry, did I say Caucasus? That's a real mountain chain, everyone. The only reason why the country of Georgia was part of the Soviet Union is because of an invasion. In fact, when Joseph Stalin went down there, before he became the dictator of the Soviet Union, he went down there just at the end of the Civil War to say, hey, guys, you're going to be part of the team, right? You're going to be coming into the Soviet Union. You're going to be becoming part of, the new Soviet empire. And they laughed at him. They told him to go F himself. Well, the communists, the Bolsheviks, did a purge in Georgia, killed a bunch of guys, a bunch of people. Sounds very familiar, I know. And that's the only reason why the country of Georgia was part of the Soviet Union. I don't think that was a digression. I think that was an important point to make.
Future in their own destiny.
And I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying that the countries that have been attacked, Georgia and Ukraine, were part of the Soviet Union.
And that.
How is that a relevant point? So let's say the Philippines, which was a colonial possession of the United States of America, does that mean because we owned it at one time that we can just walk in? I know that's absurd. That's just crazy.
And they were part of the Soviet Union since the 1920s.
But that does not give Russia the right to attack them. On the contrary,
no one's saying it does.
Yes, actually, Senator Paul, that is exactly what you're implying. You're making the implicit explicit by basically talking about Russian. It's Putin's talking points. That's all that he is doing right there, Senator Paul, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
But
they were
really
liberated from being part of this empire by force.
All right, we don't have to see Rand Paul anymore, but it is criminal. It is criminal and absurd, especially when you have people dying. Many people dying in the Ukraine. Many people calling it a genocide in certain parts of Russian-occupied Ukraine, and for Rand Paul to basically reiterate Vladimir Putin's talking points. How? It's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. I do have good news, by the way, everyone, and I'm just going to jump to this, is that Americans can now sponsor Ukrainians for temporary refuge in the U.S. Links to all these stories are in the description below. Though the program has flaws, it's an innovative way for private citizens to get directly involved in resettlement efforts for fleeing Ukrainians. That's right, you can sponsor a refugee, basically. Let's take a look. Over 11 million Ukrainians are believed to have left their homes since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began in late February. Now, American citizens will be able to help the displaced through a new program launched by the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. Last week, the Biden administration announced an initiative that will allow individuals and entities to sponsor Ukrainians who are seeking temporary refuge in the U.S. The initiative, called Uniting for Ukraine, comes as part of the administration's plan to welcome up to 100,000 fleeing Ukrainians. Prospective American sponsors must apply on behalf of Ukrainians and may do so here. The link to this story can be found in Reason.com. Yes, I do look at Reason.com. It's a big L libertarian site. I take a gander there. Sometimes they report on things that the BBC doesn't, or the Guardian doesn't, or the Times doesn't. But if you want to click in, if you're interested in the program, definitely go over to the article and click that link. Ukrainians approved via this process will be authorized to travel to the U.S. and be considered for parole. I think that's an awkward use of the word parole, on a case-by-case basis for a period up to 2 years, according to the DHS. Once paroled through this process, Ukrainians will be eligible for work authorization. Those coming to the U.S. must first have a sponsor. That could be you, anyone living here in the U.S. who makes out the paperwork, complete certain health requirements, and pass screening and security checks. American sponsors must pass background checks and prove they are financially capable of supporting the Ukrainians they intend to sponsor. Once again, this is the name of the article. You can find that on Reason.com. The link is in the description below. So you've probably been hearing about natural gas in Europe. Yes, this is a whole Ukraine-Russia war episode here on the Daily Disappointed Cat Morning Show. I wanted to show you this map before jumping into this story. This is a map of the gas pipelines from Russia going into Europe right there. And if there was, Vladimir Putin's done a lot of stupid things in the last few months, but one of the smart things he did was set up the groundwork for keeping Europe under his thumb, and that's by having all of these pipelines, getting the countries of Central, Eastern, Western Europe just addicted to Russian fossil fuels. And once again, I just want to point out, if I were Poland, if I was living in Poland, I'd be very concerned about Nord Stream 2 and Nord Stream 1. Of course, Nord Stream 2 is officially off the books at this point, as I recall. But any pipeline that goes around Poland and into Germany means that somehow, Poland may not be that important for German fossil fuels, importing fossil fuels. So that was you can see that on the map right there, that was a work around the country of Poland to get. And I know we've talked about this before, my friends, but it's important to point out that Russian foreign policy is intimately connected with fossil fuels. That's how they run their horrible kleptocracy. That's how Putin does it. Gazprom halts gas supply to Poland and Bulgaria as Russia accused of blackmail. Link in the description below, of course. This is from the BBC. Poland and Bulgaria have accused Moscow of blackmail after the Russian energy giant Gazprom said it had cut off gas exports to the country. Poland's deputy foreign minister, Marcin Przystasz, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, told the BBC that Russia was seeking to foster divisions between Western allies. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the move showed Russia's unreliability as an energy supplier. It follows Poland and Bulgaria's refusal to pay for the gas in rubles. Last month's Russian President Vladimir Putin decreed that all energy payments must be made in Russian currency. The move, which was designed to shore up the faltering currency, which has been battered by Western sanctions, has been fiercely resisted by European nations. It's not all doom and gloom for the Europeans. What you don't see in this picture is that there is going to be a gas pipeline from Norway into Poland. Poland's also importing liquefied natural gas. And so, and Bulgaria is looking for, of course, for options on how to get around having to use Russian natural gas. Another interesting point, now this isn't, I just read about this before the show started, is how Germany is sending what are called anti-aircraft tanks. Yes, everyone, there's something called anti-aircraft tanks, which is basically a tank using radar and using cannons to shoot down aircraft. And so this is a pretty big change, a pivot, if you will, for the German government to give these armored weapons, these armored, heavily armored too, from what I understand, to the Ukrainians. They have to be trained first. Ukrainian crews have to be trained first, and they are going to be trained in Germany so that they can be sent to, so they can go back to Ukraine with the weapons so that they can basically shoot down Russian planes and helicopters. Going to check out the chat and see how everyone's doing this morning. Well, that's right, Dee. Talking about the Ukrainian refugees, the Republicans would be probably for it because the refugees will be white and Christian. That's right. With this, if Nord Stream 2 was going to happen, along with Nord Stream 1, then Poland would not be that important to the Germans. And Dee Parks, there is a good chance that things will escalate. You would think that Vladimir Putin, he may just cut it once he has a land, if he is ever able to get a land corridor to Sevastopol, then he might be done. He might be done after, quote unquote, liberating Mariupol, the city of Mariupol, and also, quote unquote, liberating the Donbass region. I think he has lowered his expectations by necessity. All right, everyone. This has been the show. This has been the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. If you want to support the show, please bop, boop, bip, the like button. Talk to your friends about the show. If you're looking for a VPN, there's a link down in the description below. You get a deal. You help out the show too. I'm going to drop a thank you video to patrons, YouTube members, people who toss me shekels. There's also the after party after show on the Naked Diner podcast channel. If you want to be on the panel, the link is in the description below. Did I cover everyone? Did I cover everything? I think I did, everyone. Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you at 9:15 on the other channel. Let's find that cat video that I can share with you. Take care.
I think for me personally, working is ruining my life. I don't want to do it anymore, and it's going to be a hard pass from me.